I want to welcome everybody to our webinar this morning. We're going to give a couple more minutes, or a couple more seconds, I should say, maybe 40 seconds or a minute, for a few others to log in. So hold tight, and we'll get started in just a moment. Well, thanks, everybody. My name is John Bird. I'm with Paladin Data Systems, and we're definitely happy to have you with us today. We're going to talk a little bit about the SMARTGov public portal and how you can drive some additional efficiencies by using our public portal. And it's timely because we've just recently redesigned our portal from the ground up, so we're really happy to introduce this to you folks. We're scheduled for about a 60-minute presentation today. And of course, the audio would really come in one of two fashions. There's one streamed over your computer speakers, or you can dial into the audio line. And sometimes people have better results with the audio phone, so I'll just let you experiment with that. But we do encourage you to participate and engage with us via the chat function, which is built into the GoToMeeting or the GoToWebinar function. And you're able to chat through a question through to us at any point that you have a question. Please do that, and we'll try and get to it. And we've got some time reserved towards the end of our presentation today to handle all those questions. So please feel free to do that with us and engage along the way. As far as our format for today, I'm going to talk just briefly as we introduce the public portal about some of the key benefits that really go along with having a public portal, such as what we'll be showing to you. And then after I kind of introduce those key benefits, and I want to get into actually looking at the SMARTGov public portal. I do have my colleague Bob Johnston here today. Bob, let you say hello already.
Hello, everyone.
And Bob, you're the product manager of SMARTGov, so you lead the kind of the direction and the functionality and so on.
Yeah, my job is to certainly listen to our customer set and drive new innovations to the SMARTGov product. And this is one of our latest and greatest improvements to facilitating the business of permitting within local jurisdictions.
Yeah, great. And so again, we'll let Bob take us through some of the high-level functionality that's built into the portal. But again, we've got time reserved for questions and answers. So please do send us some questions that you have as we go along here. So really, as far as some of the key benefits for a portal like what we have here, what we'll be showing you, is to, for one, increase staff efficiencies. And I think you're going to see that pretty clearly, because what the portal is, I would recommend that you think of it as really an extension of your front counter services, because virtually anything that you can do at your front counter with an applicant or a citizen that's standing there in front of you and transacting business with you, you can also do on our public portal. And so that increases your efficiencies, because you've got that public portal working 24/7, and people can self-help themselves through things in addition to what you're already doing at your front counter. A second benefit, and I think this is really important as well, especially in this day and age, is to empower your citizens. You're basically providing to all of your citizens key information, such like what type of development is taking place in my community, what type of development or building or even inspections are taking place in my neighborhood, and you're going to see on our public notice component what type of projects are taking place that might have ramifications to where I live and what's important to me. And so this portal really empowers your citizens to have that kind of information and to begin to frame that dialogue with them in a really effective, powerful way. And yet a third benefit of our public portal is simply to improve or to drive increases in the service levels that you provide. Again, because this portal is an extension of your front counter, what that means is that on a permits level, you can process a higher quantity or higher volume of permits via the public portal in addition to your counter than you can with just your counter alone. And on the public notices side, which we'll get into, as well as code enforcements and requests, and even in the area of mapping, we're going to show you some powerful mapping technology that's built into this portal as well, which again is going to enable you to serve up a higher level of service and accommodate your citizens and your residents in a way that without a portal like this you simply can't do on its own. So I hope that makes sense. And with that, just a quick slide here to introduce the basic framework of what our public portal looks like. And from here, we're going to go directly into it. And Bob, I'll bring you in after this slide so you can kind of start walking us through some of the specifics. But you notice that on the screen, it's really designed to be simple and elegant and efficient. There's three very large buttons in the middle there, one for permitting, one for public notice, and one for contact us. And believe me, this was very intentional, the way that this was designed and architected, so that it's simple but very efficient. And when you click onto those buttons, then more functionality opens up. There's also a little area down there where you as the jurisdiction can kind of frame the purpose of this portal and a few key things that you might want to do, contact us phone number or whatever is important to you. And so again, simple and elegant but very efficient. And so actually following this slide, we'll go right into it. And what you're going to see is, Bob, really there's two aspects to the public portal. Maybe talk to what those two aspects are.
Yeah, well, you certainly have, the average citizen who just wants information. And, he wants to go find out a particular permit is happening, or he wants to run some reports or download some documents from your portal, or get access to some information that's going on in the city. And so they don't really want to have a login. They do this very infrequently and that type of thing. So what we have provided is just a pure public view, read-only, easy to access, no login required, anything like that. On the other side of that, there is the idea that I'm a contractor and I frequently interact with your building department, community development department, and I need to have, specific access to the permits that I'm working on, be able to request inspections, be able to, provide documents to the city organizations, county organization, and provide that to them. So I need a very specific access that somebody has to know who I am, how they can communicate with me, and that's what we call the private view of the public portal. And for that, you're going to need a login, and we'll demonstrate that in a little bit.
Perfect. So these two sides, one the public kind of read-only but very informational, and one being the login or private side. What we're going to do, Bob, is look first at this public side, and I've just put a couple bullet points on there for everybody to take a look at, is that, of course, this is a 24/7 public view. There's advanced searching capabilities. Again, you can begin to, as a resident or a citizen, identify what's taking place in your neighborhood and your backyard. You can do that using mapping. There's self-service reports and documents and any disclaimers that you, the jurisdiction, needs to publish. All of that is available. So with that, Bob, if you wouldn't mind, toggle us over to the application. Kind of give us an introduction to this aspect of it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and I've just moved over to the actual online public portal. We're serving this up via the cloud, and so it's available, like John says, 24/7 for people to come in and take a look at information that's happening within their city or county or local jurisdiction. you know, you're looking at the portal here now. It's got the SMARTGov logo on it. It's got Paladin Data Systems, and it's got some welcoming information from the city of Mukilteo. So things are a little bit mixed up, but I did want to tell you that, you know, this public portal can be branded for each local jurisdiction, and this SMARTGov logo here gets replaced with the local jurisdictional logo, and the local jurisdiction's name is here, and you have full control over what the information that you're publishing here, the phone numbers that you're dealing with, and those types of things. So, you know, basically, when you come to this portal, you're going to see these 3 large buttons, and you can decide, you know, am I interested in permitting information? Am I interested in public notice information? Or do I need to contact the jurisdiction? If I scroll down just a little bit, I can see the other services that are being provided from the public aspect of it, or from, and so I can run reports, or I can download documents as well. So let's examine a few of these options here. And let's go ahead and let's go straight into the permitting. I'm interested in looking at permits, for example. So I would come in here, and when I come in here, it's immediately alerting me that if I want to apply or pay or request an inspection, I'm going to have to sign up for a login ID. And then, you know, they're being alerted that these are the functions that are available, but they're very generic. This search box right here is pretty dynamic in that I can search by permit number, by address, by name, or by contractor by just starting to type in. And whatever information is available and is published in the portal will start to become available. So let's take, for example, I don't really know the permit number. I don't know my neighbor's name. I don't know the contractor. But I did notice that some building was going on across the street from me. And I'm very curious as to what's going on there. So all I have to really do is start typing in the address. So maybe the address starts with 31, you know, 5, you know, Lincoln. So, okay, there it is. It's on. We've got a number of permits going on 315 Lincoln. And, you know, maybe I'm interested in a particular one, and so I might click on that one, and it will then display for me the information that is publicly available for this particular permit. This happens to be a commercial mechanical permit. It has the site address and the parcel number, and they're installing an HVAC. It hasn't been issued yet. It was submitted on a particular day, and you know, it will be issued at some point, and you have some total fees. But as I kind of scroll down here, I can see the contacts that are associated to this. I can see the contractors who are involved with this and the license numbers that go along with that. Any details that I want to publish, I'd have the parcel information. If I wanted to drill down into that parcel information, all I have to do is click on the link. It will then show me details and the assessed value and any other permit that has ever been, you know, drawn on this particular parcel, and I could take a look at that. When I go back, I can see the fees that are required and the inspections that are required, and you know, have information about that particular permit. In addition to that, I can find out where in the world is this, where in my jurisdiction is this happening. So I can go ahead and press the map button, and the map will then come up, and it will, you know, put a dot on the map where this occurs. I can, you know, click and drag. I can click on it, get some particular information, and I could drill back into the permit by clicking on that. But the other things that I can do with this is I can change this from a world imagery map to a street map so that I can see what streets are going on. And this is very similar to what's going on in the back office. This is the same mapping component that you're using back there. So all of the mapping features that you have available in the back office are also available now to the public on the public portal. So right now what I've done is I've enabled the city zoning map, And when I enable that, it's going to go ahead and create the overlay and allow me to go ahead and see what the particular zoning attributes are around this particular permit that is being created. So I can see that this is the downtown business area and that it's appropriately done as a commercial permit. And again, if you're familiar with the back office, you know that you can draw features on the map. This is now available to the to the public, and maybe they want to draw. Oh, let's cancel that one. I hit the wrong button. Let's go ahead and draw a polygon here. Maybe I want to communicate with the building department to say, hey, what's going on here? I could create a label as well if I wanted to. And then, of course, I would have the ability to save and print that map and then email it and communicate with the people at the community development or building department. So back to the actual permit itself, I think that's kind of where I'll let you see, notice that it's all read-only information. There's no way to interact with the application to do that. Other pieces of the public side of this, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these other services.
How about if you could do advanced search too?
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Thank you, John. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at. This is where I wanted to be. I wanted to actually look at some of the other services that are happening at the permitting side of it. One of those is actually the advanced search. So let's say I'm a real estate agent or something like that, and I wanted to find out, well, where are all the single-family residential new construction going on in my community that have been submitted in the current year? So I could come in here and I could do searches by a number of attributes here if I knew the permit number or when it was issued or site addresses or those types of things, or the contractor. And once I've provided my search criteria, I can hit the search button and it will return anything that matches that search criteria. You can see that I've gotten a number of returns on this particular search. But again, very nicely, I can either print out this search or I can actually map the results again of that search, and I can look through my community to see where all of the development is going on.
Yeah.
So
this kind of goes to, Bob, to what we were talking about with empowering your citizens, because this is super powerful, elegant and easy to use, but super powerful tool for informing folks of what's taking place.
Right. That's exactly correct, John. The next area that I'm going to be going is into the inspection schedule area. So if I needed to know, what inspections are being accomplished, what have been accomplished, when are the, when can I get an inspection done, I could kind of come and take a look at the schedule, and I could see that, well, the 11th today is full, the 12th and 15th and all of those are open. If I wanted to see what inspections had been accomplished on the 5th or the 4th or the other dates, I could select the particular date that I'm interested in. It would give me a list of inspections that were completed on that particular day, or at least were scheduled for that particular day. We'll go into the inspection schedule a little bit more later when we get into the private side and we're actually scheduling inspections. But I did want to show them the reports capability from the public portal. So you can register any of the reports that you have in the back office. You can register them with the public portal to be run by your citizens. So again, if I want to know what my applications in review were for, since the beginning of the month, then I can select that start date and actually run the report, and the report itself would run, and then it would be presented to me, and I would be able to take a look at that report and have information associated to that. So we'll wait for just a minute for this report to complete. and we'll take a look at it. Okay, so the report now is completed. I can see that I've got these permits in pending approval status since the beginning of the year, and I could print or email or do whatever I needed to with this particular report.
And so, Bob, each jurisdiction, they can pick which of those reports that they publish there.
That's exactly correct, and it's a part of the back office configuration of the portal.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go ahead and go back one more time, and let's look at the documents themselves. So documents can be published on the portal. They can be set up with folders you can have as many documents out here as you want. Each can be described as they need to. If I wanted to then obviously download or look at one of these, I can then just click on it and open it up, and it would then show it to me in the appropriate client piece of software. In this case, it's Adobe, and I could read what that is. And again, we can register as many of these want. Again, organize them as we need to, and provide them to our citizens.
But also, Bob, all of the administrative tools for managing this portal and setting it up, we moved those recently to the back office administration.
Yeah, I can pop over there real quickly if you'd like me to show that to you, John. So I'm going to come over to the back office. Hopefully this is familiar to all of you. I have my dashboard set up. But in the administrative area, we have our portal set up, and we can come in and, for example, if we wanted to manage our documents, we would come here. We could then look at the documents that we have displayed on the portal. We could add them. We could add a folder or a directory or a file, upload those, and they would become part of what is being published out on the portal.
Great.
While I'm here, John, I think I'd also like to just show, for example, how easy it is to actually configure the portal. So the portal has a number of areas that can be configured. This is all done. You flip a switch, you make the portal enabled. You can turn on and off the public notice piece, the permitting piece, the payment piece, the code enforcement piece, and of course you can, if I wanted to see how the code enforcement area was configured, I'm able to come in here and take a look at that. Any of these values are really easy to change. Notice that if I didn't want to enable code enforcement, all I'd have to do is click on this, change it to no, and it would no longer be part of the portal. All of the other components of the portal act like that as well.
So it's very easy.
Right. And if I wanted to, for example, change, let's go to the general area, and if I wanted to change the general disclaimer, then I can just come here, and you can see that this is where the where did I lost that? Hang on. Where the actual disclaimer is, and I'd be able to change that as I needed to. For whatever reason, I'm not seeing that pop-up work for me right now. If I needed to change the banner, I could come in here and make that as well. Anyway, configured from the portal makes it pretty easy.
Yeah, very good.
Okay. So back to the actual portal. I'm going to go back to the main page. I've kind of talked about the permitting side of this from a public portion. And I think I'll turn this back over to you, John.
Yeah. So just to kind of introduce the next area here is it's the public notices. And what this was about is we had a customer that approached us, and we've had some general ideas in the past from some others, and we built this in. And so Bob will show this to you in a moment. This is the idea that is you might need to send out postcards to surrounding property owners around a certain project, or for whatever's going on, you want to notify people via a postcard. Now that simple little postcard would have some kind of an access code or a permit number or whatever it is on there, which simply says, hey, such and such is taking place. Wanted you to know about it. For more information, please go to this website and punch in this key. And so with that, Bob will show you how this works, and this is an automated function that's built in along with mapping again on this public portal site. So Bob, maybe move us back and show us that one.
Okay, so here's the public notice piece of this. Just so that I can set a little bit of context for this, I want to pop over to the back office again. Let's go to my workspace and my dashboard, and let's go to all applications, and let's look up, let's search by type, and I think I need this type here. Actually, let me go, before I do this, let me go back to the public portal and go to the public notice. We're going to have a public disclaimer that's going to kind of describe what the information that they're going to see here and why this information is here. This, again, is configurable from the back office. They're going to have to accept this sort of disclaimer. And then they're going to be presented with a search here. And they can just go ahead and start typing in the number that was put on the postcard notice. And in this case, it was a conditional use permit. So this is the number that I wanted, CUP 201301. So I'm going to go back to the office. Let's go ahead and look. Let's get rid of the type. And let's go to the permit number. And I'm looking for CUP-2013. And let's go ahead and apply that. Probably wasn't submitted in the current year, so I'm going to go apply that. It's probably a part of the planning department, so I'm going to get rid of that. And there's our planning conditional use permit. And so when I go pull that up, you're going to see that we've added a new tab here called Public Notices. Okay? And when I go to the Public Notice tab, I'm going to see that I have two options here that I can deal with. I can decide when and if I want to publish this on the portal by just checking the box, but I can also add various documents that I need to be published out on the portal. So I can have this one. This is the conditional permit application. It has the actual PDF attached to it, and this is where I'm controlling this particular permit. So I'm going to go back to the public portal now, and I'm going to drill in on this particular conditional use permit. This conditional use permit now looks very similar to what we looked at when we saw other permits. So with the addition of the public notice tab, and we have the contacts and of course the parcels and the submittals and the approval steps. Notice that things like the public hearing notice and the public hearing can be scheduled and alerted on this, the fees that they paid, and all of those kind of things. But in addition, that particular information that you've published in the back office is now available to them. The conditional use application, I can click on that and open it up, and I can see the Word document or the PDF that I've created to describe all of the legally required information that needs to be alerted to the various stakeholders or land abutters or whatever people are interested in that particular permit. In addition, again, I have my mapping capabilities, so I can come in and I can actually map and see where that conditional use permit is being done at. So that's pretty much the public notice component of this. It's managed from the back office, and it's published out there, and it's a matter of alerting those people who you need to go and give that information.
Very good. So contact us is the next area, and really, Bob, this is kind of a combination of complaints regards to maybe code enforcement, as well as simply notifying the jurisdiction. Maybe there's a pothole or a sign's down or a traffic light's down or whatever. Both of those things can be accomplished here. One of the things, too, is that an applicant or somebody who submits a complaint or a work order can also go back and, in the future, and they can check and see what kind of a response the jurisdiction has posted against it. You're going to show that to us. But also, anonymous protections available for somebody that's maybe making a complaint against another resident as well. So all that's built in. So maybe take us through that process as well.
Sure, I'd love to. So let's go back to the public portal. Again, contact us is the big, blue button here that we're going to want to press. So when I press that button, it's going to come up and it's going to ask me, do I want to just request some information or, inform the city about certain things that are going on, or do I want to actually, turn this into a code enforcement request that, my neighbor is building without a permit or something of that nature. And then, of course, I have the ability now to view any request that I've submitted via this public portal to go and take a look at this information. So let's go ahead and start with the easiest side of this, which is just requesting some information. Now, if you're familiar with our back office, you know that there is really two components of our code enforcement module. One is what we call a case request, and the other is actually a code enforcement action or a code enforcement process. So when I go through this process, let's take the simplest one first, the request for information. I could just hit the request button, and it's going to walk me through this wizard for me to go ahead and fill in this information. And maybe this particular one is something that is, maybe pretty common for everybody is, there's a stop sign, fell down on 1st and Main. So maybe the guy can actually spell a little bit better than I can, but I'm going to go ahead and submit that next, and then it's going to ask me for some contact information. Now, all of this is really optional information. If I didn't really want to give any of this, I don't have to. I mean, what I will want to do is I'm going to definitely want to fill in an email address so that I can be contacted if the jurisdiction thinks I need to be contacted or informed. And of course, I'm going to want to get my confirmation numbers and those types of things to be able to go and review this. But I'm going to go ahead and fill in my name as well. I could fill in my street and whatever else I needed to, but I'm going to go ahead and hit next. Now what it's asking me for is a PIN number. And I'm going to go ahead and fill in a PIN number that I use. And this is so that when I need to come back and look at the actions that have been taken, I can have a way of authorizing myself to go take a look at that. So it's going to give me a chance now to review, edit anything I want to, and then submit the actual application. Now, I've been confirmed that this has been submitted. It is actually giving me a confirmation number back that I can use now later to go take a look at the actions that have happened.
And I think that goes to email as well.
And there, the email appears for me right there. So if I needed to, I can open this up and I can see that the request has been submitted, and I could press on this and actually go view it as I needed to. So let's go ahead and go into the back office now to see how that materialized back there. So I'm going to go over to the back office now. I'm going to go back to my dashboard. I'm going to go to my case request list, and I'm going to sort it by, let me go ahead and clear this filter. I'm going to sort it by submitted date, it's requested date. And I can see now that here is the action that the stop sign fell down at 1st and Main. So now as a code enforcement or as a case request, I'm going to go ahead and open it up. I'm going to go ahead and decide that I'm going to close this and provide a resolution. And I'll go ahead and close this here and save that information. So process that request. If I came back in later and I wanted to go and I wanted to review my request, I can come in here, I can give it that confirmation number and my PIN. And when I view that, I can see the resolution, that it was closed, and when they closed it, what date they closed it, and that type of thing. So that's closed the loop on that particular case request. So now let's imagine that we're going to go take this a little bit farther, and we've actually got, we want to actually file a complaint that somebody's building without a permit. So, somebody's going to come in, so he's building a shed without a permit. We're going to have to know the location of where that is, and maybe all I know is my closest intersection, and maybe that's at 2nd and Main. I'm going to fill in that information, say next. It looks like it wants at least a city information. Now here's where it's going to ask me, if you choose to remain anonymous, we still encourage you to enter contact information in case we have questions. We will take reasonable precautions to prevent your identity, but cannot guarantee complete anonymity. And of course this statement here is completely configurable in the back office as well. In this case, I want to remain anonymous. I'm not going to provide my information, but I am going to provide an email address. Give it a PIN number again. And go ahead and submit my request. Very similar to the other one. I now have a confirmation number. And it's going to send me an email here any minute to let me know that they've actually accepted that. So let's go back to the back office again. Let's go ahead and go to the case request list again. Now we can see that that's now showed up as a case request. I, as the manager of these case requests, there's my email. As the manager of this, I know that this is not just a request. This is actually a code enforcement action. So I'm going to go ahead and create it as a building without a permit type of case request. I'm going to save and convert that. Because now I've saved and converted that, my workflow has all been populated based upon the workflow processes that I have set up that I want to accomplish with this. And if I went out to the public portal, what I would see from a public view perspective is now I would see that this is now a full-blown code enforcement action. The requester is anonymous. Here's the description. I could have added some context. But now it's got all of the actions that I'm going to be taking place. And as those actions get accomplished, they will reflect that information here. Notes can be left out here. The other information can be left out here as much as you want to configure for that. So John, with that, I think that's as far as I want to go with that.
Okay.
That's great.
Back. Yeah, and so we've looked at all of the kind of public view aspect to it, but then the next level is the private view, and this really is where the permitting side expands significantly, becomes a full-blown dashboard for somebody that's processing a permit or a contractor, including being able to pay for fees, submit documents, schedule inspections, and so on. And so take us through that process, and this will kind of round out our presentation today of what's all's available.
Yeah. let's go ahead and go back to the application. And of course, you know, to get to this level of the portal, you're going to have to actually create an ID. And just like we've seen in the past, we're going to have this little wizard where we set up an account and give contact information and then review and submit. And I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just let you know that that's, you know, a very simple and easy process to go through. I have an ID that I've set up that I'm going to go ahead and log in with. And now you notice it's got me set up here, and it knows who I am. And I've set this up as if I was a construction company. So the idea being that I would use this portal to interact with the community development building department. So here I can actually go and edit, you know, my account. I could change my password. I could, you know, edit my contact information and look at payment histories and those types of things. But I think where I'm going to spend my time here is now when I go to permitting, what I'm going to see is that now this area is starting to act like very personalized to me. So these are my permits. These are my inspections. This is what I need to pay for. These are the things I need to pay for. And if I need to apply for a new permit, I can do that as well. So let's start over here on the right-hand side, and let's look at the current set of permits that I have going at the jurisdiction. I've got 23 that are in pending, 6 that are issued, and 3 that are closed. Now, if I wanted to look at those, I can press the View button, and it will now show me that information. So here are all the 23 permits I have in pending status. Here are the ones I have in issued status, and here are the ones that have been closed out. If I wanted to look at one of these particular permits, for example, this mechanical permit, I can see that it's under initial review. I can see where it's at. I can see how much I owe. Now I have a little pay button here where I can actually go pay for this online as well. Contact information, who the contractor is, maybe some details. Again, we talked about parcels. But now notice we have a little button here over to the right-hand side for each of these submittal requirements that we need to submit to the jurisdiction. And what I can do is I can actually go in and, you know, browse my file system and pick the document or picture that I want to upload and actually upload it to the back office, and it will become part of the actual permit. It will have moved to the back office, be available to the people in the back office, and then if I wanted to look at it for myself, I could come up here and take a look at it and see what I've actually submitted. Go ahead and put that up there. So in addition to that, I can kind of look and watch the approval steps that are going to need to be accomplished. Here are the various fixtures that I'm going to be doing, evaluation, the fees, and the inspections that need to get accomplished. Now, what I want you to notice on this one is that because this has not been approved or issued, my inspections are just a list of ones that need to get accomplished here. Whereas if I go back and if I pick one of my issued permits, what I can see is when I go down to the inspection area down here, I can see that now I have a little request button and I can request these to be accomplished. And what I can do is I can press the request. It will actually populate the information for me. I can press the, you know, inspection requested for. I can see that I can't request it for today. I could request it for tomorrow or any other day here that I needed to and move forward with that. I could request a time slot and give some comment to that and then request that inspection. So I can do that from the individual permit itself, or we go back to the permitting area. I can actually go to my Request Inspections tab here, and actually pick one of the permits that I have issued. That would then present me with the appropriate, inspections that need to get accomplished. Again, I can decide when I want to have it done. Maybe I don't want it done until next Wednesday, and then I can go ahead and submit that request. I will again get a confirmation that that request had been submitted, and I should get an email very shortly to let me know that that it is available for me to take a look at. There it is, requested inspection. So how does that manifest in the back office? Let's go and take a look real quickly. We go back to my dashboard. I'm going to go to my inspection request list, and I'm going to see that here is that rough mechanical that has been requested for the 17th here. And when I open that up, it's going to give me a little, oh, by the way, there's a hold on this permit, so I may not want to actually schedule it. But what I can do is actually come in here and decide that I'm going to go, they've requested it for the 17th, I'm going to allow it on the 17th, and I'm going to assign this to maybe Joe Paladin as the person who's going to accomplish that. And then when I close it, you're going to see that it's actually been scheduled. If I go back to the portal, now when I come back to my permitting area, now here I've got a reply saying that it has actually been scheduled for the 17th. So that's good information. If I came here to my inspections, when I looked at them, I could see which ones are scheduled. Now, this had been requested, but it wasn't scheduled. These have been, this one here has been scheduled. I think if I look down here at the bottom, you'll see that this rough mechanical is actually scheduled for that at 7/17. So, so that's kind of inspection requests and managing of those. Again, paying online is very simple. You can either pay it from the individual permit, or you can pay it from a list of invoices that you may have needed to do. If I wanted to pay this one, for example, I just add it to my shopping cart and proceed to check out, validate which ones I want to pay for, proceed to the payment. I'd fill in my card number, my billing information, and submit that to my third-party merchant services provider, who would validate, authorize, and return to me that the payment was accepted. We would annotate that in the back office, and they would be fully paid up for their permit.
And that's all in real time too, that payment verification?
Absolutely. It's all in real time. And the last thing I wanted to show you today is how to submit for a permit. So again, you'll have to have a login to actually apply for a permit. So when I apply for that, I can then decide which ones are available, and I think I'm going to go ahead and apply for a single family mechanical, residential mechanical permit, kind of an over-the-counter thing. It's going to ask me, do I know my parcel? I'm going to say no, typically don't, but I do know my address, which is 325, 125th Place. So I select that. It then knows the parcel number. Can go ahead and come in here. It's asking who is the primary contractor. So I'm working pretty good with old Joe Paladin Construction, so I'm going to pick him. It automatically populates his license number and his address, that type of stuff. Then it's going to ask me the details, certain details that I want to have requested, or mechanical fixtures that I want to do. Maybe what I'm going to do is install a domestic type incinerator, for example. So I put a 1 there, and then I could fill an evaluation if I wanted to, or I could just say next. And then it'll determine how much I owe. It'll have my application set up, and then when I submit my application, it will actually create it, warn me that I've done it. It'll eventually send me an email, and when I look down through here, it's populated with all of the appropriate information, and I can start to upload the submittal documents that I need, and so that the back office can start processing that permit.
And Bob, as you're on this screen, one thing too that comes to mind is we're showing fixtures, fees, inspections, conditions on this particular permit, but that is controlled by the jurisdiction as well.
Absolutely. All of that is controlled, you know, in the back office, in the administrative area. When you set up your individual permit types, you're going to be able to decide, for example, on this mechanical one, whether a parcel is required, whether you're going to publish this on the portal, whether you're going to accept portal applications and allow it to issue on the portal. But your submittals are defined here, and then whether they can be uploaded to the web, via the web. You have the tabs. You can decide which tabs you're going to show on the portal and whether you can see those tabs in a public view or the private view or in the public notice view, and whether, you know, which information you want to display. Yeah. So it's very flexible in defining, you know, the type of information that you're able to configure from the back office and display on the portal itself.
Right. So each jurisdiction could choose to only process certain types of permits on the portal, or even just to display certain types of permits. But even within each permit, each element of each permit is configurable, whether it's on the portal. So it's a very...
Exactly. And whether it's updatable or not updatable, and those types of things.
Yep.
So...
Very good. And so I think we're ready, Bob, to move into a couple of questions. And so, Serenity, if you might let us know what kind of questions we have.
Sure. There are several questions that came through. Somebody is asking about business licensing. They didn't see it available on the portal, and they're wondering if that's something that will be available at some point.
That's a good question, and I'll let you answer that, Bob.
Yeah, we are actually in the process of working on the next phase of this public portal to include business licensing, which would allow them to request a business license, renew a business license, and pay for a business license online. That will be rolling out, you know, first quarter, second quarter of next year.
Okay, great. Another question is regarding paying fees online. Do they have to offer that option?
Yeah, and I'll take that. No, again, with a lot of the elements we were just talking about, you don't have to turn those on the public portal. Fee payment's one of those. You don't have to offer that online. It's certainly a benefit if you choose to go down that path, but if you don't want to, that's something you can disable. You don't have to do that at all. And again, that goes for really every aspect of the functionality that's there, is each jurisdiction has control over it to really define how you want to take advantage of this.
A lot of flexibility.
Yeah.
In terms of the public notices section, does that come with the basic portal, or is it an extra cost?
Yeah, that's a good question too. The way our portal is priced out is the portal itself, including everything that you just saw today, is a single fee. So if you get the public portal, you get all of it. Now there is one exception to that. If you are doing fee payment on our portal, that does require that we build a connector to a merchant services vendor of your choice. And there's tons of them out there, and we can point you to some that we've already worked with. But if you have a vendor that you're already working with within your jurisdiction, we can work with that. As long as they have an online component, we can build that for them, and there would be a small charge for that connector. Outside of that, though, everything is comprehensive. It's included with this portal, and so you know, you can use those things or turn them on or off. There's no extra charges for it.
Great. Another question is, since they already have a license and are using SMARTGov, is the public portal easy to add on and implement?
Yeah, it's very easy, and of course you can deploy SMARTGov in one of two fashions, one being the traditional method where you're hosting the server and your IT organization is serving up SMARTGov on your local area network. The other method is the more common modern method. That's in the cloud, where we're hosting it on your behalf. And the point is, in either of those fashions, is this public portal is really quite easy to deploy. If you're hosting your own system, then you need, Bob, I think they would need I server in their DMZ, and the IT guy can work through all the details of that.
That's exactly correct, John.
A pretty easy process to do. Of course, if we're hosting SmartGov for you on the cloud, it's just a matter of us essentially flipping a switch and turning it on. It's literally that easy to put it into play. And then, of course, what you would do is go through all those administrative functions that Bob showed some of those to you and decide how you want to use it, what type of disclaimers might apply to you, which functionalities you want to turn on or off. But
if you want to accept fees.
That's right, if you want to accept fees. So you need to make all those decisions, but really it's pretty easy stuff, and you're off and running.
And then one last question, is there any limit to how many contractors and customers can be using the public portal?
No, yeah, that's a good question. There's no limit to that at all. As many people as want to come through your jurisdiction website and land on your public portal can use it. And so again, this is really a great way to extend your services because it truly is a 24/7 self-help system. It's available all the time, and so as many people that want to use it can. Now, one other idea too, and this is an idea that's taking hold in a variety of places, is that maybe even in your lobby, outside of your front counter, is to provide some kind of a kiosk with a computer connection straight to this public portal. So you're kind of offering this service even in your lobby as just a kiosk. And so that's another thing you might want to consider, using it in that fashion. But there's lots of options here, for making this really work in the best way for you.
That's great. And it looks like somebody else had a final question just about asking for pricing, and probably the best thing to do would just have them contact us after the webinar is over.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And actually, I anticipated, because at the end of the day, of course, you're going to want to know, what does this thing cost. It is an annual fee, similar to the way you buy our cloud-hosted model. It's an annual fee. Or, of course, if you are using SmartGov in a perpetual license model, you pay a single fee up front and then maintenance each year. But anyways, the way we're generally pricing it for our cloud-based users is it's a percentage of your total cost for your SmartGov users. And we'll work with you, Serenity and I, either of us, we'd love to talk with you about figuring out exactly what that means and how that works for you. And that it's a scaling cost as well, too. So the more SmartGov users you have, that overall cost starts to go down a little bit. So it's very accommodating. It really is a simple way with a low cost to bring in extra efficiencies. And again, as many online users as you could use are certainly welcome to use that system. So, and that's all of our questions, Randy?
Yep, that's all of the questions for today.
Very good. So again, just want to thank everybody for being with us today. We had a lot of people on the line today. And keep in mind that we're doing webinars kind of all the time. You might want to check our SmartGov website periodically just to see what we're doing. What we like to do is feature various success stories of organizations that are using SmartGov, how they're using it, what types of returns on investment they've accomplished. We do have one coming up where we're going to be talking with Kitsap County, Washington, and they were recently acknowledged by the NACO organization, National Association of County Officials, for some lean methodologies that they put into place, and they're tracking and managing all of that on the back of SmartGov, and they're able to reduce their average processing time from 26 days for a residential permit down to 14 days. And so they're being acknowledged nationally for that, and it's kind of exciting. We're going to do a case study around that, and there's some other things that we've done in the past. So maybe take a look at our website for that. But maybe even more important, though, is give us a call, either Serenity or myself. You can see our contact information, and we'd love to fill you in with the specifics on our portal, what it would cost for you, any other questions you might have, so that we can get you up and going on that. We look forward to chatting with you, and have a great day. Thanks very much.